Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, folks. Where today, guys, we got some breaking news. Nate Pearson, former top prospect for the Toronto Blue Jays, he's getting traded away, guys. I mean, this is what it is to be a seller, right? We saw Jimmy Garcia go yesterday. Now it's Nate Pearson, somebody that not a lot of people were talking about being on the trade block for the Toronto Blue Jays, but he is gone, and he is going to the Chicago Cubs, guys. So we're going to break down that entire deal that just happened. We got back a couple guys in return. We're going to talk about them, what this means for the team moving forward, and this trade deadline. But before we get into it, please make sure to hit the like, smash the subscribe button, and let your thoughts be known down below. Let's flash over here right now, guys. Talking baseball. It's official. The Cubs have acquired reliever Nate Pearson from the Toronto Blue Jays. Big Nate. I mean, we had so many high expectations for Nate Pearson when he came up. When we first started doing this podcast, this YouTube show, like he was the guy, right? He was the number one prospect for the Toronto Blue Jays. And then with a bunch of injuries that happened, and I mean, like from some freak stuff too, like mono and a bunch of other stuff and some underperformances as well, never really hit the ceiling that we all wanted him to. And we're going to get to the return that we got for him because we do have it here. There was a little confusion at first. We got back two guys, Hendrik Pinango. I hope I'm saying that properly. Probably not. And then Josh Rivera. So we're going to talk about those guys. But first things first, I do just want to look back here at Nate Pearson. You know, not the career with the Toronto Blue Jays that I think a lot of people would have hoped for. And I think that this is a good thing for him, going somewhere else, going to another team, right? I was even saying prior to this season starting that I thought that Nate Pearson would be a great trade-away candidate because it just felt like he was never really hitting that full potential here in Toronto, whether that be because of the state of the team or the coaches or anything like that. But it just never really worked for him. You know, like you look back at some of the career here, he's got a 5.63 ERA this season, so it's not like he's playing out of his skin, and we do need to factor that in to the return that the Toronto Blue Jays do get, right? He's not playing incredible here in 40 innings. Last year, it was a 4.85. So, I mean, just kind of a middling to, you know, kind of a bottom tier bullpen guy, honestly. No denying that the stuff is incredible. The stuff has always been amazing, but on the field, the results just haven't really translated in Toronto. Now, from a contract standpoint, Nate Pearson, we are trading away several years of control here, folks. 2025, 2026, he would be under contract. And then in 2027 is when he becomes a free agent. So I think that's why a lot of people weren't really talking about Big Nate as being a guy that would get traded away because, you know, you're hearing Ross Atkins come out and you're hearing reports come out about how, well, you know, we're not trading away guys that have, you know, controllable years past this, right? It's going to be very much so just the one-year rentals. And that's why we saw Jimmy Garcia go yesterday. But with this trade right here, I don't want to say that it opens the door for trading away guys like, you know, Chris Bassett and other people like that, Kevin Gausman, because again, Nate Pearson is a very different level of talent than some of those guys, but it is interesting to see that we're giving away several years of control. So that's Nate. He's going away. It sucks. However, let's look at the return, guys. We got it right here. Shout out to MLB Trade Rumor saying Toronto will receive minor league outfielder Hendrik Pinango in return, ESPN's Kylie McDaniel reports, as well as minor league infielder Josh Rivera. Now, both of those guys, they're not, you know, top prospects for the Chicago Cubs, but they're also not nobodies either. If we go over to the top 30 prospects for the Cubs, they're not in the top 10, they're not in the top 20, but they are down here, guys. You got Josh Rivera right here. He is a shortstop. We are getting him back in return for Nate Pearson. He's in Double-A right now, 23 years of age. And then you got Hendrik Pinango down there, outfielder for the Chicago Cubs, 22 years old, and is expected to come up in 2026. Both of them actually are expected to come up in 2026. So two prospects, you know what I mean? It's like you got back two prospects for Nate Pearson. I didn't mean to cheers right there. But yeah, two prospects, right? And I think that is honestly a solid return for Nate. We'll look at their numbers in a second, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect too much from a Nate Pearson deal. I know that he does have several years of control left, and that is, you know, very valuable to some MLB teams, but again, right, like we looked at the numbers on a page. It's not like Nate Pearson is blowing people away, right? The fastball is still incredible, but he's never really been able to control it consistently. So to get two guys who are in their top 30, I know that they're not studs and they're not going to be talked about as even potentially being starters one day. Like you're probably going to be looking at a fourth outfielder or kind of a bench guy from the Pinera, I believe his name was, the shortstop, right? Like I don't think that he's going to come in here and be the next Bo Bichette or anything like that. But still, these are guys who are going to be in your system. They're going to make your system more competitive. And that is something that the Toronto Blue Jays, being the ranked 30th prospect system in all of baseball, desperately need, folks. So let's flash over here and just take a quick look at their numbers, familiarize ourselves with the guys we just got. Yohendrick Pinango, we'll start with him. He's the outfielder. Minor league guy, 22 years old. I believe he is in double A, single A. Yeah, double A right there. So this year, I mean, not phenomenal. I mean, in double A, in the 55 games that he did play, he's got a 661 OPS. However, in A+ ball right there, like he was killing it. So he averaged out at a 797 OPS. Ben Nicholson-Smith actually came over and made this tweet right here saying that he's a left-handed hitting outfielder. He's got 9 home runs, a 797 OPS in the minors this year. He's 22, and he's kind of described as being that fourth outfielder, right? So just as I was saying, going to be that guy who could potentially come off the bench, give your starters a day off, do that whole role. And we need guys like that. Competitive teams absolutely do have guys that are just there to fill in and, play that role. And I think right now, when you look at the Toronto Blue Jays roster, you probably have too many quote unquote fourth outfielders or bench guys who have been thrusted into starter roles. And that is a problem. So that's Yohendrick right there. Now, Josh Rivera, the one who is the 23rd ranked prospect in the Cub system, he's somebody who can legitimately play shortstop. And he's saying that he could be a future utility type. So when I hear that, and I mean, his OPS in double A, as you can see right here, not very good. There are questions about the bat for sure. So more of a defensive specialist here. Here are his numbers right here if you guys want to take a look at it. When I hear that, I'm thinking to myself, kind of like an Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Now, I know that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has been phenomenal this year, has really been popping off with the bat as well, but for the longest time, IKF was defense first, Swiss Army knife in the infield. He just fucking did everything out there and, really couldn't hit at all, and then this year, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I can hit now, so that's great, but just looking at this guy and kind of hearing the breakdown on Josh Rivera, feels like he's more of a, Ross Atkins type, where it's defense first, the bat is secondary, and I don't hate it. Again, I don't hate it because you're looking at the 23rd ranked prospect and the 29th ranked prospect for, frankly, a player in Nate Pearson who just was doing nothing for us, guys. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, he had a negative .9 WAR in his entire career with the Blue Jays. So, yes, it sucks to give up Big Nate and to miss out on that experiment. And when you look at it from the standpoint that at one point he was a top 10 prospect in all of baseball, and now it's this, yes, that is obviously a loss and that sucks. But at the end of the day, I think that from where he is right now to going out and getting some guys that maybe could help you out in the MLB at some point, that's a win for me. And I think that this is the direction that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to need to go in. Oh, Jesus, I did it again. This is the direction that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to need to go in moving forward, being this selling type. This is what it is to be a seller, and I don't think that this is going to be the first deal where we see, somebody like a Nate Pearson. Potentially next, it's going to be a Chad Green going, where you get 2 guys, 3 guys in that 15 to 20 range in the prospect system. So, guys, let me know your thoughts about this deal in the comments down below. Shout out to Nate Pearson, man. Obviously, it didn't work here. I hope that it works out for you in Chicago. There's going to be a lot more moves to come for these Toronto Blue Jays. We're going to be live tomorrow, on Monday, and on Tuesday, covering everything Blue Jays trade deadline, folks. So hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Jays, go.